Good evening and welcome to the BizNews Briefing. Today is Monday, the 2nd of March, 2026. I'm Patrick Kidd. On tonight's show, Dr Iraj Abedian on what could come next in Iran, a market update led by MTN and Exxaro, Piet le Roux on the court-ordered freeze of NHI, and Bloomberg on possibly major oil implications arising from the Iran conflict. Our top story tonight, Iranian-born economist Dr Iraj Abedian details what may follow Iran's current turmoil. He lays out three possible paths, from an orderly transition to a far more violent and unstable outcome. Abedian spoke to BizNews editor Alec Hogg this morning.
The optimistic view is that in the next 2-3 weeks, the military interventions, as the Russians would say, special military operations, will wipe out all the infrastructure of the partners of MTN, which is Islamic Republic Guard Corps, which they have started already. They have to also dismantle the political network of this regime. They started miraculously, remarkably, on Saturday. They took Khamenei and his 40 top military and political advisors. And if they do that in the next 2-3 weeks, they will make the coast, as they say, clear for the nation to come out in millions to demonstrate in rural, urban, and metropole areas to take charge of what they want to do. The second option is that Americans and Israelis, Europeans will congregate around a government that they will plant in, for the better, for the want of a better term. They will agree on who should be the transitional authority that they will back. And the third option, which is the most disastrous one, is to abandon it and let people decide. And then the amount of hatred, the amount of anger, the amount of frustration will take over, and there will be a period of revenge. If some kind of stability does not prevail, you will have a situation that these people who are desperate for their loved ones, they will take the law to their own hand. They will eliminate with bare hand these mullahs and this head of police and this head of revolutionary guards, etc., etc. And they will be, as you know, hate begets hate. Whether it's from this side or that side, whether the operatives of the regime are killed and they want to take revenge again, that is a human tragedy both ways. So those are the three options as I see it.
In today's market update, MTN flags a sharp earnings rebound, Exxaro completes its big manganese deal, the JSE lifts dividends, and Italtile comes under pressure.
While the events in Iran may have cast a dark cloud over MTN's Fairlands head office, on the brighter side, the group today announced a massive rebound in its financial performance for the year to end December 2025. Excellent numbers helped offset developments in Iran, where MTN co-owns the dominant cell phone company, and with the share price as a result only falling modestly today. The telecoms giant anticipates reporting strong growth in its financial results when it releases them on March the 16th. It's been driven by robust operations in key markets like Nigeria and Ghana. That offset intensified competition in the South African prepaid market. Shareholders can look forward to a stellar turnaround from a very low base, admittedly. Headline earnings per share are projected to surge more than 1,000%, reaching between 1,264 and 1,284 cents. Exxaro Resources has officially cemented its position as a globally significant manganese producer. The company today announced that it has closed its acquisition of manganese assets from Piet Holdings and OMH for a total of $10.6 billion in cash. This landmark deal secures Exxaro an effective equity interest in the Tshipi mine, which is the world's fourth largest manganese mine. While the Mokala portion of the sale remains pending, Exxaro notes it will no longer maintain its previous 12 to 15 billion rand cash buffer as it starts to review its capital allocation. The share price picked up almost 4% on the news. The JSE Limited has reported strong financial results for the year ended December 2025. Group revenue climbed to 3.4 billion rand, driving an 18% jump in headline earnings per share. Shareholders will be pleased as the exchange declared a 16% increase in its ordinary dividend to 9.61 rand a share. And on top of that, investors will receive a special cash dividend of 100 cents a share, bringing the total dividend payout ratio to over 85% of earnings. The shares fell slightly on the news. Italtile's latest interim results show the strain of a tough consumer environment and fierce competition, and the numbers sent the share price almost 5% lower. While system-wide turnover held flat at 6.1 billion rand, trading profit fell 14% to R1 billion. Headline earnings per share also dropped 14% to 60.5 cents, prompting a lower interim dividend of 24 cents a share. Meanwhile, the company announced that Lance Foxcroft will step down as Group CEO in June this year. He's going to lead the associated company Ceramic Industries and hands over the reins of Italtile to incoming CEO Brandon Wood.
Sakeliga CEO Piet le Roux sat down with BizNews journalist Chris Steyn this morning to unpack the latest NHI court order. He says the state has agreed not to advance any implementation while the legal challenge continues.
The Minister of Health has undertaken not to ask the President of South Africa to proclaim any implementation or operation of the NHI Act. The second was that the President undertook that he would not proclaim or similarly advance the implementation of the NHI Act, and then also that the department would not implement the NHI Act pending the outcome of the procedural challenges, which is set to be heard in May in the Constitutional Court. That could be drawn out for a long time, or it could be dealt with quickly. But it really, fortunately now it does not matter because whether it takes long or short, there will be no implementation as agreed by the parties and made an order of court.
What advice do you have for healthcare businesses as a result of this development?
I think at Sakeliga, I like the term state-proofing or maximum appropriate non-cooperation, where the state seeks to co-opt private businesses, private medical providers, non-profit or for-profit, any non-state actor, where the state seeks to co-opt you into an ideological scheme that is clearly harmful, clearly unacceptable. Offer the least possible cooperation you can. Do this judiciously, of course. There are sometimes risks in not cooperating with the state, but wherever unethical demands that are harmful to society, that are unlawful, that are unconstitutional are made, I think it's also an ethical duty on people to offer the least possible cooperation. That's the one point of advice. And I think the more people resist participation in unlawful and harmful government prescriptions, the better it is for society and the better it is for a flourishing future for all of us in this country.
Michelle's a mom who traded in her Fiat 500 for this beast right here. But why the momentous move, huh?
I needed something bigger to keep up with my growing son and his many sports bags.
When you traded in your car with We Buy Cars, was it an easy conversion?
I see what you did there. The process was just so easy. I was given a tablet, had to sign, and that was it.
Basically, We Buy Cars is no mess, no... Okay, it was nice chatting. We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
In closing out tonight's show, Mark Matthews from Julius Baer sat down with our partners at Bloomberg to discuss the oil stakes in the Iran conflict. He says a more US-aligned Iran could have huge implications for global energy flows.
Mark, you talk about this being largely about oil, right, for Trump. If we get into a situation where there is a replacement of the regime with one that's a little bit more friendly to the US and to the West, does that reshape American power over global oil flows?
Heidi, absolutely. And I think this is what it's all about, actually, because if in the future Iran is an American ally, the Americans will be directly and indirectly kind of influencing about a half of all the world's oil production. And as you know, most of Iran's oil that it exports is going to China. So there are huge geopolitical implications to this. And I agree completely with what you say. I think that many countries are probably struggling right now to know how to respond, like Saudi, Turkey, Egypt, but of course also Russia and China.
Are there going to be American boots on the ground? You say that we're very close. Well, the closest that we've been, right, for a long time when it comes to regime change. Is that a risk that you're looking at as being likely at this point?
Yeah, it's hard to know because, I mean, the estimates are that some 30,000 people were just killed in those protests in Iran. So you'd have to be a very brave person to go out on the streets right now. And I think that the people who would go out on the streets are actually being told to stay inside by the Americans because the attacks are continuing. So we'll see in a week or two if people do that. But ultimately, I think it would be in the armed forces if you see those kind of falling apart and we know the Americans and the Israelis are reaching out to many people in them through Telegram and various other means, offering money and amnesty. Anyway, if the armed forces and even the Revolutionary Guard, individuals there start to basically leave, then I think the whole thing could fall apart very quickly.
That's been tonight's BizNews Briefing. I'm Patrick Kidd for BizNews.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.